Kevin here, and it's been a week since my last channel got suspended, and it's hard starting over again. This new channel, you know, it's growing slowly but surely, and that's good, but it's tough, especially when you're going from thousands of subscribers to, you know, a couple dozen, or, you know, millions of views between your last two channels to, you know, a few thousand views on this one. But when I see stories like the one today, I realize I should be happy to start a new channel, and I should be starting 3 new channels, because the sedition in this country against President Trump and people who support President Trump has gotten dangerous. Guys, today, the MSNBC network show Morning Joe outright called for a coup against Donald Trump. And you see, this isn't the first time there's been people calling for a coup against Donald Trump. It's happened a lot this year. New York Magazine called for a coup. A Washington Post op-ed called for a coup. Dozens of these small sites like Slate and even a Huffington Post article called for a coup against Donald Trump. And earlier this year, there was this meeting in New York with senior Democrats from New York and people from all over the U.S. who are in activism, who met with General Leonard Smith, a former CIA head under Obama, where they actually talked about how they could overthrow Donald Trump from office. And this is dangerous. You're talking about a CIA head here, talking about how to overthrow a sitting president who was just democratically elected. Guys, this show, Morning Joe, is run by these 2 people who are probably a perfect example of how evil the left and globalists are. Now, Joe Scarborough is a Republican, or he was a Republican, but he was a Trotskyite. He was a neocon. Neocons, especially people like Joe Scarborough, they were a branch of Trotskyites that sort of broke off from the Democratic Party. And he is not what I consider right-wing, or what most people would consider right-wing. He's an internationalist, a globalist, and he supports wars. He's an evil man. His wife, Mika Brzezinski, and co-host, she is the daughter of a man who was probably the most evil man in America back in the 1960s and 70s. Her father was instrumental in the Vietnam War. He wrote books about how to fight wars all over the world and kill millions of people. Anyway, these people are not good people. They are your typical elitist globalists and the type of people we've seen who are now running the Democratic Party and manipulating anarchists and jackbooted thugs and groups like Black Lives Matter to go out and cause violence and try to overthrow the president. Just like we saw with Refuse Fascism claiming that they were going to overthrow the president earlier this year. That's what you get when you have these people running things. And why are they doing this? Because they cannot tolerate a nationalist who is successful. By every metric, we are better off under Trump than we were Obama. GDP is up. After 8 years of stagnation and neglect under Obama, our country is recovering. Unemployment's down to record lows. And I'm not talking about unemployment like we had under Obama, where he didn't count labor participation. I'm talking about real unemployment across the board. We have hundreds of new contracts just signed with Trump and his partners in Asia to bring jobs to America. The fruitfulness of Trump's Asia trip was totally underreported. Guys, they cannot tolerate nationalists and populists to have a victory. That's what this is. The last time we had a nationalist populist president, they called him insane. And that was Ronald Reagan. A man so insane, he brought down the Berlin Wall, ended the Soviet Empire, who launched America into its greatest period of prosperity ever seen before. Guys, they hate us because they want the West to fail. They want America to fail. They want to fleece America for everything it has, and they want to let their minions run it into the ground afterwards. This is the plan of the Fabian socialists. This is the plan of the globalists, people in the CFR, people in these internationalist groups like the Club of Rome, groups that Joe Scarborough himself are a member of. And this is dangerous, guys, because, see, the military overwhelmingly supports Trump. The veterans overwhelmingly support Trump, myself included. People in the heartland overwhelmingly support Trump. These are people who love America, people who are patriotic, nationalistic, who want success and prosperity. And we have been cowering under the boot of the mainstream media and the shadow of all their dumbed down inner city thugs and brainwashed college brats who are out there causing anarchy and violence, trying to bully us into submission. And we have to come back and fighting. We have to come out and start pushing back right now, guys, because this is dangerous. Imagine if they tried to pull something like that, what would happen? We might have secession movements all over. You know, governors might declare states of emergency. They might even send the National Guard to challenge whatever forces are in D.C. trying to take Trump out. People who are patriots might start taking up arms and going after Democrats or people who are leading these calls for a coup. I've seen it before, guys. This is what happened in my wife's country. This is what I saw in Central America, in South America, in the Middle East when I was there. People would, communists particularly, would call their opponents mentally unfit or having a phobia, irrational phobia, or whatever they do, we see them doing here. They would do that there and use it as an excuse to take them out of office or have people go out and kill them. And that's something that happens regularly in those countries. Now, Morning Joe is worried that Trump will start a nuclear war with North Korea. Even though North Korea, that is the person who is mentally unhinged. That maniac and his family have oppressed and killed millions of their own people. They've led starvations against their own people. They think of themselves as gods. They tell their people, they're brainwashed social justice warrior minions, just like the ones here. They use left-wing propaganda in that country too. And they tell those people that they're gods, and those people have to follow their agenda. Or what happens? Well, they're ostracized and are exterminated. And I'm sure the way the left's acting here, that's where they want us to go too, that direction. And God forbid a populist starts fighting back. But, the left defends this maniac in North Korea who has his finger on the nuclear button, who's launching missiles, and they're upset that Trump tweeted. In fact, earlier I did a video on this. Trump just put out a tweet criticizing Theresa May and showing a video of Muslims terrorizing Europe. And they called for his arrest in Europe. People in power in Europe, politicians in the UK, called for the arrest of our president, our democratically elected leader of the free world, showing us that Europe has become the not-so-free world under these same globalists and leftists. Guys, this is where they're taking us. They're taking us down a path to total destruction of the West. And it's damn time we fight back. Anyway, Red Pill out.